The Market Lens podcast has always been about financial growth and development. And while we've talked about asset classes and sat with successful people to talk about their lives, everything has been geared towards that. As we shoot our final episode in season 1, I'm sitting down today with a great man, a man whose life will shed light on finance, business, and even personal development. With me today is Mr. Chukwuma Ohaka, a seasoned business strategist with over 20 years of experience in financial services. He has been an entrepreneur starting his own businesses. He has been a 9-to-5er succeeding in the career world. We're going to talk to him today, and he's going to give us the tea on what it takes to be successful in the world today. Mr. Chuks, welcome to the Market Lens.
Thank you.
All right then, let's start off. Let's set the scene, right? You have done the 9-to-5. And you have done the entrepreneurship, and you have succeeded at both. I mean, even off camera, we're just talking about your early life and how you started, and that's an incredible story. Today, especially with a lot of young people, you have this demarcation that is being set up of 9-to-5ers and entrepreneurs, and a lot of people think, look, if you're a 9-to-5er, you are giving up your life, that you will not be able to, I guess, get to a certain level of success that's the entrepreneur, the business owner has gotten to. And it begins to feel like we are beginning to, should I say, sensationalize, being an entrepreneur and owning a business. Now, I feel like as someone who has done both, quite successfully, you are in a place to really tell us what is real, when you're on ground, what should you expect? Either in building your career and starting a business, and hopefully, help people to have the information they need to make sensible choices, right? So I think the first thing this question I'll ask is this: if you could give your 25-year-old self one career tip right now, what would it be?
Whatever thing I've done in the past, I'll repeat it. And that is strategic focus and know my goal. Know a direction you're going in your life. Define whatever thing you want to do. I always say to people that the Gen Zs of now and our time are not the same. I also tell parents never to use our templates to judge the template of people now. There are a lot of things about Gen Zs. One of the most unique thing about Gen Zs is the factor of impatience. The fact that they want to make it quick and make sure that they have everything sharp. But I always leave them with this. If you jump up, you will come down. If you grow up, you stay up. Why most of us stayed up and are still staying up is because we grew up. Okay. I read a book about a man who had 2 plants. He was pouring water on one and intermittently pouring water on the other. And he was watching the two, and at a point, a storm came. The one that he was pouring water on steady was uprooted, while the other one that was intermittently poured water on stood, because that one had, at a point when there's no water, it grew more roots to search for water. Whereas the one that had water on this always couldn't go because the water was always there for the tree to grow on. So for our Gen Zs, one thing I'll tell my 25-year-old self, up the strength of patience and understudy process. If you understudy process, you grow, you succeed in anything.
When you talk about, the plant that is being watered intermittently, and because it doesn't have water all the time, its roots grow. I don't know, in my mind, I just thought about adversity, how like some level of adversity, could be resilience in yours. And if you're patient, then, I guess maybe in being patient, you will face adversity. And if you can be patient through those adversities, then you will go. I love that analogy. Thank you. So now the thing is, so people that, I feel like you said in your days, things were a bit different. And I feel like the whole having a career in your days it sounds like it was a lot more rewarding. Because even when you said the story of Cameron, where you said with the company that it was a company that kept calling you and going after you, I don't think a lot of people have that experience these days. A lot of employees where a company calls them, like keeps calling them. I feel like there are a lot of people in the job market today that if you're not ready, they just move on to the next person, right? And so I don't know if they are. I feel like career satisfaction then may have been a bit different from what it is now.
Okay. I beg to differ. Yes. What I think we have now in the career world is, in our time, we have people who are willing to work, willing to get raised, willing to get everything. But now we don't have people who are willing to work. We have people who are willing to make money, cash out. And because of that, no employer, I'll tell you this, no employer is willing to lose a good staff. No employer. I have a nephew who just got a job with one of the number one consulting firms. He just passed out of service this year. And he saw the application online. He applied and he went through all the processes. He just got his employment and his pay is very good. And he's willing to go through it. And this is because he has been under my tutelage. He has been in my house and I've taught him how to be. Because at a point, I saw him getting derailed. Now, let me tell you some of the things that get people derailed. You see this crypto thing, the forex thing, the trying to do trading thing, the content creation thing, the fact that they don't want to answer to anybody, the flair for freedom. Every of these things can give you money. But there are things that working under institutions did for us. It helped us to understand life, planning, discipline, and be focused. You see the difference? Now everybody wants to, money could come. That's why I use the word, if you jump up, you come down. You could make $1 trillion today. And if it's not properly structured, you lose that trillion tomorrow. Because once people make money easily, they think it's like that tree that gets water easily. So planning becomes difficult. What career does to you is not, I always tell people who work with me that you see it as a second phase of your schooling. While you work in a structured place, you are being taught, you're being educated again. So I tell them that the salaries we receive are allowances for studying a second time. We work and we get paid. And that pay is a kind of compensation for going to another phase of school. And that's why when you leave a place you've worked and you're moving to somewhere else, they not ask you how many years of experience do you have. They no longer ask you what years of experience you have in school. Now, your school certificate gives you the opportunity to come to the next phase of your career experience. And that career experience comes with a lot of things. It comes with understanding the workplace culture. It comes with understanding processes. It comes with knowing how to plan. It comes with getting bullied and respected. You understand? These are two things. Somebody respecting you and the other person bullying you. It comes with the real life experience of the world. So if you think, because I'm making money, you tell me bullshit, I walk away. You get to a point where you will see that money has come, but it hasn't had any roots. So if you want to make money, it's good. But how and on what platform are you making this money? And that's why you see a lot of them make money. And what's the outcome? We buy flashy things, designer things, buy flashy cars, have lifestyles that are not worth it. Sorry to say, some go in as drug addicts, drunks, doing things, and before you know it, money is gone. And because it came easy, everybody thought it comes easy. So we'll get it again. So you see, most times when you get someone it's easier to get a Gen Z to come and understudy somebody who is doing Yahoo than you get a Gen Z to come and understudy someone who had gone through a career or be patient to do applications. I'll tell you, sometime when I was at LBS, during this Jackpot syndrome, we discovered that most high employing organizations were looking for people to replace because of the effect of Jackpot. And they were looking for people who had the ideas and knowledge. I'm not saying that it's bad to delve into tech and other things. I'm not saying that the traditional way of work is the best way, no. But I'm saying that you have to balance both. You understand? And there are opportunities in Nigeria here for employability. There are a lot that you can be.
What are some of the sectors that
The financial services, the fintechs, the government parastatals are still employing. Yes, it was saying that one you have to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. I agree with you. But to be honest with you, the financial services still employ. It's always like the adverts are given. If you are married, they go on merit base, so you cannot challenge that. The development, what they call the development industry, the NGOs and the likes, you can also get employment in those areas. Then the cash cow, the fintechs, they are there looking for smart gurus, and they've made it good because with their event, with what happened after COVID, people work smart, people work from home and everything. So some of the things that we didn't value then as work had become work. But what misses out of the life of people who are doing is that they do not wait to get the other part of it. The part of making money is there easily, but the part of the culture of money has a culture. You must develop the culture of money for money to remain with you.
what's the culture?
You have to respect money.
What does that mean?
You see, let me explain. You can't spend. I was speaking to someone this morning, and I said one of the major problems of the people today is that a lot spend more than they earn. Have you taken time to check how much you spend at the end of every month? Most people live above their means, and that's not the culture of money. I'm more of a. I believe in the Bible. There's this thing I love in the Bible so much. It says, seed time and harvest. If you forget to do the seed time, you will never be found in the harvest time. And there's a scripture in the Bible that says that he that gives bread to the eater also gives seed to the sower. And if you take this to the time of our fathers, those who used to do farming, there is this particular place they call the barn. Irrespective of how hungry it is in the family, you see those crops and seeds that they have kept for the season of planting, they will never touch it. You know why? If they try to touch it, it will affect the next harvest. So the same thing goes with money. Whatever money you have, there is the money for flexing, there is money for investment, and there is money for savings, no matter how little it is. And savings is not because of how much you earn. Saving is a responsibility of a culture built. If you cannot save when you earn 10 naira, you can't save when you earn 10 million. You have to devise that. That's a culture of money. You have to have the one for savings. You have to have the one for investment. You have to have the one that you use to look after yourself. And people always say, how much do I earn? It's not always enough. You complain that it's not always enough. And you do data. You earn, assuming you earn like 250, 300K. And at the end of the month, you've used 25, 30,000 naira to do data. And those data you do, not like you're using it for purpose of business, but you're using it for purpose of showcasing Instagram and the likes and the likes and the likes. So if you could not plan when you receive your money and have, even if it's 10 naira at savings, 10 naira for investment, you're heading for a fall, no matter how much you make. So you have to have a culture of money, the culture of saving, the culture of investment, and the culture of looking after yourself.
I like that it's more of a mindset and a lifestyle, right? So I think that's like foundation. Yes, so people going into the workforce. So let's say you're in the workforce now, right? You have that foundation, right? You respect the culture of money. You are patient, but you're in your company, and in your company there's a lot of, let's say, competition, right? You want to climb up the career ladder. What are some things that we can do to differentiate ourselves from our peers?
Good. I was telling you off the record that one thing I do definitely I'll use myself to give you this answer. If I'm in a place I'm not valued, I look for elsewhere. I was that radical. I developed myself for myself. And I give my best to my organization. Not because I'm giving my best to my organization, because I'm giving that best because that's who I am. And once I give my best to my organization and my organization fails to recognize my best, I'll start looking for those that recognize my best. And there are people out there that will always recognize my best. And that's how I grew up in my career. I never went for an interview that I never was called for. And each time I went for an interview, I would always give the people, the interviewers or the organization, I always go with a plan for whatever thing I've come to give to the organization and always live up to it. So for me as a person, if you are in a workplace and you want to develop yourself or you want to go to the higher place, make sure that you avoid eye service. It's a very bad killer. People think it's because I'm good to the boss that I'll be promoted. No, not because you're close to the boss. You have to have a good character. That's one thing I always say to people, that if you go to your certificates, now they don't look at your results first. In issuing certificate, university said, having been found worthy in character and learning. If there is no character, no matter who you know, you can't go far. Character has to come first. You have to be very, very strong in character. 3, you must give the best. Make yourself inevitable. If you have this kind of life in another person's business, when you apply it in your personal life, Mensa Otabe, when he was preaching in one of the messages I listened, said something. He said the principle is the same. Even if you put it in church, it works. If you put it in career, it works. If you put it in business, it works. If you are a lazy man, it shows where you work. If you are a lazy man, it shows in your business. You understand? And I've always told people, I'm going to get something. Now, do 2 jobs. All the time I tell people I did 2 jobs. And you know what the 2 jobs? I work for the organization and I work for myself. And when we some time ago we opened a spa store in Abuja, I leave work by 5:30 and I resume at my spa store because it closes by 9. And I was setting up a foundation because I knew there was something my presence was doing in the business. So at every point I was there, I could see the difference. The same energy I put in my career, I put in my business, and that's why it succeeds. You understand? So you have to ensure that anything you want to do, you have to make sure that you are not doing it to please anyone. That's a very good standard for yourself. Anywhere you are found, I say this and say with all sense of pride. I will work with you, either as a subordinate or as a supervisor, and you will not miss me if I leave you. Say go. I never worked with an employer who was happy that I left.
So it's like the best way to differentiate yourself from your peers at work is not to compete with your peers, but to just look inward.
Look at yourself. Make yourself indispensable. I tell my children, there's no competition. You see, I've ever heard that an aircraft collided or crashed with each other just like there are car accidents on the road. Because there are lots of space up there. When you climb up, you see a lot of space. It is enough to accommodate all. Don't ever use your mates as measurement. I don't look at my colleagues.
What do you look at?
Myself. You have a goal for yourself. What's your life goal?
But then how do you know what's possible? Because I've been in situations where because I saw someone do something, then I know that, okay, this is possible.
Mentorship is good. I'm not saying mentorship is not good. One of my mentors, you can mention his name, Kalo Aja. Google him, think Kalo Aja. He interviewed me during my days at the Yes and became friends. Mentorship is great. You have to look up to someone on the positive part, not on the negative. It's always one I've looked. Now, I've had mentors who I never worked with directly. One person I looked up to coming up in my life was Tony Blair, the former British Prime Minister. I don't know him, but I loved his charisma. And he worked on me one day. One day, my other set me up. It wasn't a negative setup. And he was called to come up. We had a presentation to do at the University of Nigeria and Soccer. And in my level then, if you asked me, I'll tell you that at my level, all I was qualified for was to share flyers, not to come to the podium. My guy didn't tell me he was going to invite me to the podium. My guy just climbed up, introduced himself and introduced the organization, and said he was going to introduce the speaker. And this is a crowd of over 1,000 people that had a registrar, the vice chancellor, and other people, and MDs of other PFAs. He is small me. He said he was introducing the speaker and mentioned my name and asked me to come. When I heard my name, I thought he would ask me to get the flyer. And as soon as I was climbing up, the man just left the podium and said, "Speak." But you know what hurts me? I've always loved the way Tony Blair had himself. Always the way he addressed Congress. Yeah, and then I saw myself as Tony Blair. And I climbed that podium, kept my hands like the way Tony Blair keeps his hand, and I started speaking. The next thing I heard was that the whole place was clapping. So it gave me more strength to speak. I also had someone I've always loved his career path. Melu. He's one man that I would love to meet one day. But I've studied his career path. So you see, are we peers? No. Do we work in the same place? No. But these are things that have inspired me positively. So, and I've also had people I've read. In my marketing days, I read a lot of Zig Ziglar's books.
Yes.
I tried as much as to apply the principles he did. So you must have to have things that keep you. I've also had colleagues that were my G's, my guys, that we talked about our visions and what we aspired to become. I've never seen any colleague as a competitor.
I like that. Earlier you mentioned mentorship, which was actually I was going to bring that up. So say, you're in like unofficial environment or wherever you find yourself, and there are people you want to mentor you, and you want to approach them. How do you do that?
Easy. Very easy. Look up to them.
That doesn't always work.
You know what? I hear that doesn't always work. I asked myself this. The workplace is supposed to be a social place, much as it's an official place. It should be a place where people open themselves up. I find it so difficult to relate with people who say they are tough. I've worked with very tough bosses. I wouldn't like that about that. But if I'll tell you about the practical things people told us many years ago. So when you want to have a mentor, you find out the person's birthday. Find out the things the person likes. If it's possible to give gifts, give gifts. Get the person to get the attention. It's just like when you like a woman and the woman doesn't notice you. As a guy, what do? Do you just fold your hands and say, this babe doesn't be? You have to find a way to get the person's attention. But you must make yourself likable or mentorable. You understand? Before somebody, you can't want somebody to mentor you and you're rude. The person would not want to associate himself or herself with somebody that has a negative personality. And most importantly, if you must be mentored by someone, you have to learn to keep the oath of secrecy, the oath of loyalty. Can the person count on you? Are you trustworthy? When you are allowed access, would you be able to use it very well? Kalwaja was an AGM when I was an ET. You know the gap. Carlo and I will go out because then we are both single. Carlo and I will go out in Abuja in his car. We'll go out after our social events. The next morning when I come to the office, I come to you and say, "Good morning, sir." I never allowed our social relationship to affect our future relationship. Most of these days, you give a person an opportunity to come to your inner circle, and the next thing the person calls you, addresses you by first name, begins to disregard the protocols. If you must be mentored, you have to understand there are protocols. You have to respect the protocol.
You get into these spaces where you meet these people.
I said, make yourself indispensable. build a social capital. What is people do not know that social capital is a good capital to build. I tell people this, and I don't lie about this. My daughter finished university and finished her service, and she wanted to work. And I asked her where she wanted. She said she wanted to work in three organizations that are into media and advertising. And in all of these three, I didn't have any contact. But I told her I'll get her in one of the three. And what I did was I activated my social capital, my social network. So one of my friends walked into my office and we were talking. And I said to her, I said, "Oh, my daughter has finished." She said, "Yes, so how far? Where is she? What's up with her?" I said, "She wants to work in so places." Say, I think I know their GM. There and then she picked a phone, called the GM. The GM was her classmate. Said, "I have this, my friend. Your daughter is smart. Blah, 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 blah." Said, "Okay, send her CV." In my office, we sent her CV. Before evening, they sent her an interview schedule. In 2 weeks, they gave her an offer. Social capital. Privileges are built for tomorrow. I watch movies a lot. And if you know the Game of Thrones, there's a family they call the Lannister. They always pay their debts. I don't go. I pay in advance. Anytime I have you in my life, I make sure I deposit something in your life. That anytime I knock on your door, you remember that I had something deposited. So you'll always owe me. That's how I built my life.
So now we've talked about career, and I feel like what you said alone. I mean, that should be enough to set most people up if they follow what you said. But how about people that are business owners now? Right. Let's try to address them and their concerns. Right. So you started multiple businesses. And I know earlier you said something about a superstore in Abuja, and other things, and even partnering with businesses offering you partnerships because you bring, you bring value. So when you're looking for a business opportunity, either to start or to partner with, what's the first thing you look out for?
Partner.
Really?
People think it's money that you look for first. I've lost money because I've failed in business because I had a lot of money.
Expatiate on that.
Okay, sometime many years ago, when I got into Abuja from Owerri, because I was transferred from Owerri to Abuja. And where I built business and I had a lot of money. So when I got into Abuja, and my friend George is in the UK now. George introduced me to the kind of business that I didn't have enough knowledge about, but I had a lot of money. So I jumped into the business with the full might of my money. And I lost that big money. But what I told people was that it was school fees that I paid. I used this to learn the ropes. I learned the process. But what sustained me aside the money was passion. The passion is one thing that will keep you going even when you don't have profit. Passion is what will keep you going even when you don't have. See, I've succeeded in businesses I didn't have money because I had passion. Because I pitched the passion into someone who believed in the passion, and the person was able to say, "Go ahead."
I mean, but then shouldn't you also maybe look at businesses that have traction? For example, if say you're into artisanal carpet making, that doesn't sound like a business that has a lot of market traction. So if I'm passionate about artisanal carpet making, it could be very passionate, but it's just not something that sells in Nigeria.
Good.
So what happens then?
Okay, that's fine. When you have something that can't sell in Nigeria, and you have platforms where you could showcase that, what stops you from showcasing it on the platform?
I mean, eventually, if it's not going to sell, why bother?
Then, if you know it's not going to sell rather, why go into it? Is that the only thing you know how to do? There are lots of things. I always tell people that I love to own a private jet. But can I just dabble into owning private jet now? There are businesses that are for the future. There are businesses that are for now. Now, that business that may not sell in Nigeria could sell somewhere else, but you need to do what? Gather some energy, some network, some resources to be able to launch into that one. So why don't you foreclose that one and get into the ones that you know that are possible within? You understand? Now, the same energy you have for that, you could apply in other things. Why oftentimes people fail is that they hold on to something and say, as this is the last, even when they see it's not working. I once worked with an employer that told me that the cost of reviving a dead business is more than the cost of starting a new one.
But then how do you, because earlier you said, even when you're not making money, your passion keeps you. Yes. So how do you know when to, when to hunker down and, push through, and when to pivot when you're not making money?
That's fine. I'll give you a typical scenario. Because my line more is on buying and selling trading, most of my instances are going to be on trading or manufacturing. I've got involved in a particular product with a firm to be in charge of their brand nationwide, and it wasn't giving me money. But passion in their business. It got to a point, they reneged on our agreement. And I already invested money in that. So you know what I did? I severed the relationship with this organization. But because I had passion and had invested money in this, I kept that hope alive, searching for another organization in that kind of space that would value what I had. And I stumbled into one. And when I stumbled into one, it was easy for me to play into their system using the template of what I had passed through with these other people to know what I can accept and what I can't accept. If I had given up, if I didn't have passion to continue or to continue what I was doing there, when this thing happened, what will I do? I'll throw away the baby and the bathwater and I'll start afresh. But because I kept hope alive, because I believed in what I had, when I met this other organization, it was easy to plug and play. When I dropped it with them, they oh, no, this is what we're looking for. And now, instead of going to the failures I had with these other people, I used their experience to correct every other thing. And did it work out for me? It worked out for me. And where I lost money in this other place, I didn't see it as losing money. I saw it as school fees. I saw it as learning curve. I advanced into it because I had the passion to succeed in that goal. And today it's making wave. And when I got into this place, I didn't get into this place as a learner or as someone who was appealing. I got into it as someone with experience. Most times people fail and see it as final thing. I read a book many years ago by Robert Schiller that says failure is never final, success is never ending. If you can find that book, read it. You'll get a lot of inspirations that helped me planning my life. Some years ago, most of the things that are trending now I did in the past. You see, fashion. Fashion is trending, right? I got my first job where I went to measure someone clothes. And he brought over my idea. As in, he told me to forget my clothing line and join his business company. But there was something there. The passion for clothes making was what kept me going. Even when I met someone who wanted me to make his dress for his wedding, and there was no profit in it. But because I loved to see people wear what I make, and then Felix is his name, he's in the UK with his family now. And when I did one, people saw it and loved it. And through that one that I did because I didn't make money, many others came. There are things you do as seed in businesses. There are services you offer, not because you must get instant reward, but they go as seed. Sometimes somebody will call you to come and you might be a content creator, and I want to speak to the people in content creation now. You might be a content creator and you have a standard. It has to be 450K. It has to be 600K. It has to be 1 million or nothing. And this person has an opportunity of giving you to come and do it for 250K. And if you look at it, there is no capital investment. All you have to do is energy and strength. When you finish it, maybe what you might have spent might be 100 or 150K. You go with 100, you say no. Instead of walking away and not doing that job, see it as an opportunity for more adverts. See that lost money as an advert for more people to know you. Now propose to these people Okay, I'm going to do this job, but please help me do a referral if I do a good job.
I feel like that's good, but I feel like there can also be a downside to that. Because if word gets out that, okay, this guy is willing to take, maybe your standard is 400, 450K, oh, he's willing to take 200K because of exposure, then everybody comes to you and they'll be like, oh, yeah, I did for 200K and we'll give you exposure.
Thank you. That's not true. You met people, you take decisions based on who you meet. When I met Felix said that's all he had. And a friend of mine that introduced me to Felix said, Chukwuma, do this. Felix is a good point to start. I didn't know Felix, but someone, Steve, introduced me to Felix. But did it work out? Yes. And I'll tell you where my relationship with Felix got to. That making clothes, when Felix turned out to become my sponsor in marriage, we built a relationship beyond clothes making. And the people that came after Felix, did they pay me down? No. Because I made him understand that I did this for the purpose of this. And all the persons he introduced, he told them my fee. When you're speaking to people and you want them to, you're giving them a kind of discount, let them know that you are doing a discount for a particular reason. That if they do that referral to you, you wouldn't. But always see an advantage in every opportunity to showcase yourself, especially when you're not known. Most content creators today, they are not known. 200, 2,000 followers on Instagram. They are rude. They don't want to listen to people. They put themselves high. You have to build up gradually. And there are prices you pay. There are sacrifices you make. Don't just wake up and begin to charge because you think so and so influencer is charging so and so amount of money. No, you don't do that. You graduate to that point. And when you graduate to that point, it's when people refer to you. The best advert you could get in life is people referring to you. Referring people to you because of what you've done so well.
What's something that people get wrong when launching or running a business?
Assumption.
Assumption.
As it's so sweet in the paper, it's not how it is in the Nigerian thing. Oh, see, the way you do business in Nigeria, don't go with Harvard standard and come and do it in Nigeria. In Harvard, they'll not tell you that the local government will come and shut your business in the morning. So dot your I's and cross your T's. And do it on a scalable basis. Don't jump in full. Test the waters. Know how it is. Don't think because you have programmed it so well in your brain and people are told it so, the idea is so good, you jump into it. Give room for failure. So that when you fail, you know that you can start again. Then don't get into something you're not passionate about. Because even when you're failing, your passion can sustain you. Then make sure it's something you know that is sellable.
Is the business landscape even for all sectors? Chances for success in Nigeria today?
Oh.
Okay, so what are the sectors, what are the businesses that have a better chance of succeeding?
Tech, because it's innovation. If you're able to cook up something that is good, opportunities come for people to pitch ideas. If you could pitch that idea and you're fortunate to have one, fine. If you see this buying and selling we do, it's difficult, bro. Very difficult.
So what if I'm not taking clients?
If you're not taking client service, what service can you give? Okay, you're doing this now. Do you know this podcasting is enough for you to blow? All you need to do is, if you have desire and passion for this, you can start so little and keep projecting it and make sure you're adding value to people. Before you know it, your followership will grow. And before you know it, one person could reach out to you. The name of the game is consistency. People start up because it's not succeeding. They just hear that if you leave podcast now and do content creation, boom, you leave your podcast, your driver, and you went into content creation. Meanwhile, you have done some things people are listening to. And already you're beginning to get momentum. They come to look for you at your podcast. You're no more there. You're in content creation. And you try, and when it's not coming, you hear that, no. He's selling juice. That is the in thing now. Come and be doing hygiene thing. You drop it. You're going to this. People are coming to this. They can't find you anywhere. Look at my history. I've been in 20 years in pension industry.
Consistency.
The name of the game is consistency.
Right. Let's get a bit practical, right? Business metrics. You are starting a business or you are running a business. You want to know if your business is doing well, if your business is healthy. What do you track? How do you track that?
Fine, I'll give you 3 or 4. When you define your business, what's your business goal? If you're in service industry, what is the goal of that business? At every interval, look at that goal. Are you doing it? That's why you see organizations have their vision, mission to watch whatever they do. When you look at the kind of promises you've made yourself before you took up that business, you'll be able to track to know whether you are on the right track or on the other. Secondly, some will say clientele base. How many clientele did you start with? And how many clients are you servicing now? Are you the one that started with one and you're still with that one after 4, 5 months, 6 months? Third, what feedback? What feedback have you been able to get? Have you been able to get someone refer you to people or the services you gave to them that they enjoyed? And the fourth one is the one that everybody runs into. Money. I didn't call money first. What inflow have you generated? Is it giving you inflow? Even if it's not giving you inflow, the monies you're pouring into it, are they helping you achieve these 3 goals? I don't know if you get my point.
Yeah.
You might be spending money, you may not have gotten to your break-even point, you're still spending money. But these 3 things, if it's a product product you've created, how many people have bought those products? Where has it reached? If it's a tech thing you are building up, you're creating an app, how many people have sampled your app? How many people have given you feedback on your app? Where have you launched it? How have you been able to measure it? If you're creating content, how many people have criticized it, and said it's good or it's not good? How many people say, oh, come and try this on me for free? That way you'll be able. If you're opening a shop, have you tracked your processes? Have you established inventory, buying, selling? Have you been able to keep a record of how much you've sold? So people think it's how much you make at first, no? To graduate.
I like that. So, start with your mission, your vision, right? Then track, your clientele base, where you are, based on where you started.
And the value.
And your value.
The appreciation of value.
Yeah, thank you. The appreciation of value even before money comes in. All right. So let's just quickly touch on personal finance and money philosophy, right? I want this to be quick because I feel like we've already covered a lot about a lot of foundational principles that could even be applied to personal finance and even how to think about value, so now it's just to, I guess, articulate it so that we have bullet points for our readers just to use. Has your relationship with money changed over the course of your career?
Yes.
How so?
Hey, ask me this. Okay, literally. Have you heard this word in Yoruba that say empty barrel low man pariwo? As in, I don't know if I spoke very well. Empty vessel make the loudest noise.
No, yes, I know the English version.
That's fine. When you don't have money, you make noise. You try to impress people, to show people, here I am. You buy things that you don't need. That's where you go to do buying designers, buying phones that are, once they launch it, buying wristwatches, trying to impress people. But when money comes, you've seen the real value of money. The reverse is the case. You live simpler. You begin to look for what the money does for you. So that explains it. I don't get into events to announce myself like I used to do before. I'm not saying I've had money, but this is my lifestyle now. When in my starting up days, when I was coming up, I looked forward to people recognizing me for what I wore, for what my kind of a personality. I need, if you don't recognize me, I've used to feel offended. Now I get to a place, people want to say this is this person. I tell them, no, 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 no. Because there are lots to do with money. Money is no longer for me to show off. Money is now for me to invest in.
Is that part of the culture of money that you spoke of?
Yes. It has to do with, before I get money and I want to loan, people could walk up to me and ask me for loan and I give them. I can't give loan to everybody that comes to me now, because no matter how close you are, I can only release funds that I can forfeit when I give to you. Many years ago, a friend of mine collected, I had about 500 and something thousand. A friend of mine collected 370,000 from it. I never returned it. Those were the lessons I learned then, because I trusted easily. I don't trust easily now, because I know that it's not as white as people make it to be. People can tell you all manner of things to collect. Even when people call me on the phone and say, Uncle, give me money, I want to eat. I don't send money to everybody that call me because they want to eat. Because I believe if you're hungry, you won't be calling people to give you money. You get up and you walk. You understand? So it's changed. People think I'm more stingy now than I was then. Reason because I have more value for what my money could do than then.
Managing money as an employee, managing money as a businessman, is there a significant difference?
Much. As an employee, you're sure of at the end of the month you're getting salary. As a business owner, you're sure at the end of the month you're paying salary. You have responsibility, you have obligations.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that those people that depend on you, you pay them.
So how do you navigate that, especially maybe during months where sales are not so hot?
You have to make a plan. You don't depend. So see, if you fail to plan, you do what? You plan to fail. I've had this difficulty. When we started business, at the end of the month, we're running helter skelter. How do we pay? How do we pay? We tried. So when we got to a point, I got an idea on how to make it, because we're into sales. And sales happen every day. It may not be the same volume. So what we did is that we planned with the lowest volume of our sales to be able to pay salary at the end of the month, to be able to pay rent at the end of the month. So you know what we did? At the end of every month, at the end of every day sales, no matter how much we sell, we bring out the money for rent and we bring out the money for salaries and put it in a separate account. And we also push back the balance to the business. That was how we were able to navigate that era of struggling to pay money. Now we've gotten to the point that at the end of the month, there's a standard you pay. If you don't, that's why I mentioned about plan. If you don't do this plan of savings, investment, and yourself, when you have 1,000, you won't be able to do it when you have 10 million. So you have to build that culture.
So let's combine all this together. If there's one thing you could say to this current generation, either Gen Zs or Gen Ys, who are trying to make it either in their career or in their business, right? So now, you're not speaking to me, you're speaking to them, right? What would you say?
Should I look at them or should I look at
I
them?
don't look at them.
Build a character. Be consistent. Be honest. Be respectful. Save more than you spend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this has been Market Lens. Mr. Chooks has unloaded a lot of knowledge. It was a lot more than we expected, and of course, I enjoyed it the entire way. Personally, I remember, it says if you jump up, you will come down, but if you grow up, you will stay up. Because I know that sometimes I get really into the whole, okay, we need to make money before I'm 30. And I'm 28, so I'm like, I have 2 years to make like a lot of money. And I feel the pressure when I see other people, or even when I see my peers doing certain things, but today we've learned that, look, you have to look inward. You're not competing with people, you're competing against yourself. You have to add value. And when it comes to business, you have to, know where you're going and deliver value. Thank you so much, Mr. Church, for being on here. We would absolutely love to have you again because there are a lot of things that we couldn't touch on because of time that we would love to speak about. And this has been it, our listeners. You can just go through the video, talk about a lot, your personal careers, growing your careers, and even growing your businesses, and the culture of money, which is something that was really interesting for me. As always, we love to hear from you. Comments, leave your comments, tell us what you think. We look forward to seeing you season 2. Our next season is going to be power packed, even better than this first season. And as always, stay safe in the market.